guys, welcome back to another episode of 343. I'm your host, AF. Before we get started, just a quick reminder to give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Sportycast. Like and share this video as well, and hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already. Also subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, and I'll include the link at the bottom. But yeah, welcome back to some of the regulars, Jason, Ronnie, and Mubeen Ahmed. And a special welcome to somebody that's been around the block, so to say, growing up in Maitland in Cape Town, playing in the Manchester United Premier Cup in Soweto. He made the SAFA under-17 team before being scouted by Hellenic. He then went on to the USA and is currently working for a recruitment company, ASM Scholarships, and has recently signed for Arkansas Wolves, who play in the NBSL. Welcome, Zubair Taylor. Great to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so as is usual with first-timers on our show, or when we have a guest for the first time, we have a bit of an icebreaker. So my question to you is, if you could be a part of any title-winning side, whether it's a local team here in South Africa, any club from around the world, or any international team, who would it be and why?
I think Ajax Cape Town or Cape Town Spurs, as they're called now. The reason I say that is because I think that their development stage or their development structure is the best in the country. So I think definitely Ajax Cape Town.
That's great. Jason, I don't know if you were thinking another team. I think I heard from you that Zubair is a avid Manchester United fan as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was thinking maybe he was gonna say, maybe the 99 treble team, won the Champions League, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Maybe he's thinking the Santos team that won the PSL, but no, fair is fair. Zubair is a lover of good football, so it makes sense. Ajax, formerly Ajax, Cape Town Spurs, they do have one of the best setups, so yeah, can definitely see that happening.
Nice one. So Zubair, the panel has a few questions for you. Jason, do you want to kickstart this the Q&A?
Yeah, man, sure. So for all of the listeners, myself and Zubair actually used to play together. Had a season or two at Vasco. Like Faraz said, Zubair went on to the USA where he had played collegiate football. Actually, made it out there with a degree, which is very good because I think once we get there, everybody just wants to play, nobody wants to go to classes. So I think my question for you, Zubair, is just obviously having started within local football here and then moving over to the States, what would you say are the key differences? Because obviously things are a tad bit different there. They do treat you a bit more professionally, put you in the setup. So what were some of the adjustments that you had to make, and what are some of the things that you enjoyed compared to local football?
I think the biggest obstacle that I had was obviously being a student athlete. The reason I say that is because student comes first, and I really struggled at first being a student in South Africa, and I thought going over there, like you said, we just want to play, we don't want to go to class and stuff like that. So that was the biggest thing that I had to overcome was, actually going to class, pushing myself, going to 8 a.m.s and things like that. I think the most enjoyable thing was just being able to adapt to any situation that side. I mean, whether it's the physical side of football, whether it's, like I said, academics, adjusting to the way that things are structured over there. I think all in all, it was difficult at times, but I think, being myself, I really enjoyed every moment of it.
That's quite interesting. Just on top of that, like, how was the barrier of you being a foreigner from South Africa? Like, how did your colleagues or like your players take to you, like being a foreigner?
I think I can't really say there was a language barrier because we all speak English, but I think there was definitely an accent barrier. to where sometimes you speak and not many will understand you. And then you have to repeat yourself like 10 or 13 times. And I think that was the main thing because, you know, while you're playing, it's like you give an instruction, but it's like they don't understand you, even though we speak in the same language. And it was just, you know, our accents are a bit thick over here. And going over there, I think it was just difficult trying to really speak to someone, and you have to really sound as clear as possible and pronounce every single word as clear as possible. So I think that was kind of the biggest adjustment. But yeah, I think, you know, over the time that I was there, I obviously think I adapted very well.
That's great to hear. Mubeen, do you want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah, how's it, Zubair?
I'm good.
Yeah, my question for you is obviously, like Jason and Faraz mentioned earlier, you obviously came through the youth system fairly early. I think you said at the age of 4 when you started playing, and obviously made it through each age group and representing the South African national team at the under 17 level. So my question to you is, how would you compare, you know, what you've been through as a junior in terms of the structures in Cape Town or South Africa, so to say, compared to what you've been through recently over in the States?
I think many can, I can't say many because not a lot of people have been through the USA college system. But I think even like Jason, he's obviously been there as well. I think on that side, obviously football is a bit, how can I say, it's developing in a way, but they're developing very quickly. And I think, you know, over here in South Africa, we are technically, tactically, you know, we're just gifted. And I think that sort of helps us in many ways. And over there, I think, you know, players is hardworking. And I think going over there made me realize that in a way we are behind, but I think that's just due to what we are taught from a young age. You know, I think, you know, starting at the age of 4, I played under 9 for about 5 years, and I don't think I was really coached, you know, properly. And I think over there it's quite different. You know, you coach from a young age, and you coach by, you know, qualified coaches and things like that. So I think that's sort of the biggest difference coming from South Africa going into a country like USA.
I think that
Jason.
Sorry for us. It's just we have this natural ability. You know, everybody picks up a ball to play in the street, get all your neighbors play together. Where there it's very like structured based, and they have more resources than we do. So literally, like Zubair says, many people can attest to playing and being coached by your uncle or somebody's uncle or somebody's brother that just knows, played soccer somewhere, can coach. Whereas, like you said, people have licenses, have these badges, can start implementing grassroots level training from ages 4 up. And then, yeah, I think one of the things that I found that's very similar to what Zubair is saying, it's like we have the skill, we can understand systems, we can understand tactics, but where we were lacking is like these guys have been in the gym since they were like 13. They've been eating the right foods to allow them to actually recover well. When you go there, suddenly you are tasked with playing against guys who can run for the whole day, who are built physically like playing like maybe NFL, you know, gridiron football, where they can comfortably go between the sporting codes because they have that sort of physique. So yeah, I think that would probably be one of the things that, like, just echoing on what he said, it's that bridging point between the skill and actually the hard work, so to say, actually physically. So yeah, that's 100% agree with what he had struggled with. It's weird. I think many soccer players would be able to say that if you have been over there.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, like, based on what both you and Zubair are saying at the moment, it's no wonder why the type of football or soccer that is being played in the USA at the moment, you can see it's getting better. Every time you're watching the football, even the US men's national team, I mean, they are getting better by the year, and it's visible. It's not just a fluke. It's down to the proper routine and processes that's put in place over there. But yeah, I'm just going to finish up with my question. So yeah, you work for ASM scholarships. Is there anything that you can tell us about what you do, and how does that link up with the type of journey that you followed?
So I myself went through an agency. I actually went through Athlete USA, which was actually founded by Chris Fidel, who's actually now the owner of ASM Scholarships. And the guy who actually took me over was David Sykes. He's now the director of Africa. And he was also with Athlete USA, now moved over to ASM Scholarships. Basically, we are a recruiting agency, a college recruiting agency that recruits student athletes like myself and Jason. We obviously help you get into the USA via the college route on scholarship. You know, there's obviously a major process that goes through getting you there. It could take, you know, a month to sort out everything. But I think, yeah, I think the biggest, I want to say the biggest influence is trying to help people understand the concept of a student athlete, because I don't think it was introduced to us in South Africa. You know, I think a lot of times when I speak to people, they always tell me, you know, their parents are pushing them just to do academics, or their parents are pushing them just to go professional in sports. And I think many miss that point of a student athlete, you know, trying to understand the perception of being a student athlete as a whole. You know, it's a huge process. And I think that's what I'm trying to kind of do now, is implement the student athlete concept in South Africa, because I think the sooner we get it and understand it, the more student athletes we can produce. And I'm trying to implement education through sport, and I'm trying to push that concept as much as I can, because I think it's really important.
No, it's definitely, I agree with you there. It's so important. I mean, there's so much talent like chilling here on our shores at grassroots level that isn't being discovered. So, I mean, if there's any sort of out for these kids, then, I mean, like, bring us as much help as possible. Any final words from you guys for Zubair before we go on to the news?
No, not from my side.
No, just look, I think he's so divinely purposed in that he's been through this journey. So I think what sets him apart from other recruitment agencies where they could have people just recruiting for the sake of it, he's been through the system. You know, he offers first-hand experience, and like he had said earlier, he's not one that was maybe academically inclined, but I think towards the middle of his degree, maybe the end of his degree, it's actually more than just, okay, playing soccer. You're now putting something else that can be used as a foundation, which is used now. He's now transitioned from a college footballer to now suddenly being somebody who's in a place that can impact somebody else and can actually. So yeah, man, I think it's, if anybody's listening and they are keen, I think you should definitely reach out to Zubair Taylor. He's in that position and he's in that mold, and I can vouch for him as like outside the football, can vouch for him. Great stand-up guy, also very funny, which is part of the stand-up part. So yeah, that also adds in, everything adds in together. But yeah, it's just it's so nice to hear people actually pushing education through sport, because like he says, it's either you are going to play soccer or you have to go find a job. But I think once you explore this option, there's very big possibilities that you could do both and you could succeed at both. So yeah, man, that's just kudos to you and kudos to the team at ASM.
Nice one. Yeah, so we're going to be switching gears a bit to some football news. The headline of the last couple of days is that Manchester United have agreed the deal for Erik Ten Hag to be manager of the football club, according to Fabrizio Romano. Mubeen, what are your thoughts on this appointment?
Yeah, I want to know why you always come to me first when it's anything got to do with Manchester United. I'm always the first point, the first uh, guest.
Making up for time when you're not here.
um, to be brutally honest, I don't know. I have a bit of mixed emotion about it. You know, we're always having a rant on our group chat, and yeah, I still don't understand why. I'm going to start off by saying this: why they needed to implement a interim manager who is trying to, you know, play a certain way now for 6 months, so to say, plus minus, and then we bring in another manager, and the players have to buy into his philosophy, because in the same, like, I think Ole would have probably gotten a few more better results out of the group than what Ralph has. So in terms of the new appointment, I still have mixed emotions, because I still feel, why didn't Manchester United go after Antonio Conte, when he was available? I think that was, for me, the best suited appointment at the time. But with that being said, like, you know, it's an agreement in principle at this stage for Erik Ten Hag, and it's exciting as well. I mean, he's a young manager. He's got his philosophy. I mean, I've been doing a bit of you know, research on his playing style. So he prefers the 4-3-3 system. But there's a lot of work that's got to be done in terms of getting the squad to where it needs to be, or where he wants it to be. Like we've discussed amongst ourselves, there's a lot of deadwood at the club which he's got to get rid of. He's probably got a short list of players who he wants to bring in, and you know, I've read a couple of articles where he wants to have a say on transfers per se. So he wants to work closely with the board in terms of who he wants to sign, who the board wants to sign, and have the final say on that. With that being said, I think there's still a lot happening at the club, at the boardroom level. So I think that's probably going to be his biggest fight. First up, getting the buy-in to what his philosophy is, and then secondly, getting the players buy-in, particularly the ones that are staying with the so-called big egos, and getting their buy-in to getting them to play the way he wants to play. So I think it will be an exciting time, provided that there's buy-in from all facets around the club.
Yeah, Zubair, do you want to give any input on this topic?
Firstly, we need to get rid of our captain. I don't care about the coach, but we need to get rid of our captain. I think it really starts from there as well. We can bring in whatever coach we want, but if we don't have the players, we're not going to be able to play. I think it's just as important as, you know, changing our coaches all the time. But I think, you know, we've done okay. We haven't played the best football, but you know, bringing in a coach with a strong philosophy, I think we should do well now. And I'm happy that he obviously wants to have a say in who we bring in and who we release and so forth. But I definitely think we have to get rid of Harry Maguire. We have to start there, because it's sort of like having a cancer in the team, you know. He really hasn't been doing well, and I don't understand how he's a captain, first of all. So I think it should start from there. And then, yeah, because I mean, with the money that we spent on him and that we're paying him, we can definitely bring in 2 or 3 better players, you know, that can actually have an impact in our team. And I think it's going to improve from there. If we can do that, then I think we have a much better chance of obviously making the Champions League. I'm not saying we're going to win the league if we just release him and bring in a better coach, but I think, you know, just making the top 4 and then aiming higher every year from there, I think it'll be a big improvement from there.
Yeah, I definitely think it goes down to how much money they paid for him, though. I don't think the board is going to be like, we paid 80 million for you, okay, but now let's bench you because you're not good enough, or let's strip you of the captaincy. I think the egos are too big to do something like that. But I think that's something that a manager or a coach like Erik Ten Hag, he comes in and he says, if you want me as manager, you allow me to do these things. You allow me to act the way I want to, and you allow me to mold the squad in the way that I want to. And that, if that means getting rid of your 80 million centre-back signing or getting rid of your 50 mil right-back signing, like, allow me to do whatever I need to do to take this team further. Yeah, that's just my mini rant on that topic. Tonight is a game between Manchester United and Liverpool. There's a lot riding on this. I mean, United need to win this to keep their top 4 hopes alive, and Liverpool needs to win this to basically stay in the title race if they want to keep their quadruple dream alive. But yeah, I don't know, Mubeen, Zubair, who wants to answer this? Where do you guys think the battles will be won here? And who are the players that we need to look out for that will be trying to make a mark on this game?
Zubair, you can have first bite.
Yeah, no problem. To be honest, I think tonight's game will go one of two ways. Either as a United supporter, we're getting battered, or we're giving the Liverpool a run for their money, because there's no in between of United. We're either going to be really bad or really good. Obviously, we want to pick up the points, but we have to obviously give Liverpool their respect. They've been a very good team, and I think players that we definitely have to look out for is obviously the front three. They've been solid throughout the season, whether it's Salah, Mane, Jota, Diaz, Firmino. I think we have to look out for them. And I think if we can actually try and compete in the midfield, I think that's another position where we can kind of lock them down. Like I said, it's going to be difficult, but I think if we stay solid for tonight's game, we can give them a run for their money, but we also have to keep in mind that we have to respect them as well, because they've been doing well, but we also cannot fear them, as we also want to pick up points.
Yeah, Mubeen?
Yeah, look, it's Liverpool versus United. It's probably pinch a nerve with Jason, but it's probably the biggest game in English football, regardless of United's past few seasons. And like Zubair said, you've got to still treat him with respect. They are a team challenging for the title, but I also think United will give them a run tonight. I haven't seen any news recently, so I'm not sure if Ronaldo will be in the starting lineup, given that he's lost.
No, he's not playing. They announced it. So he's not playing. Yeah.
I think that that obviously plays a major part in tonight's game, but I think we will be in the spanner in Liverpool's works this evening. Maybe we don't win the game, but I think we're good enough to fight for the draw and let them drop points. But with that being said, I think Ralph will probably push the team to go for the win, because we need the 3 points very desperately to even stand a chance of finishing fourth. So it's very interesting times for the game ahead.
I'm a bit scared with our defense. I mean, this past weekend, this is against Norwich, 20th on the log, and I mean, Maguire and Telles, that left side, they were caught napping. I lost count how many times they were caught napping, and Norwich basically, I don't know if that was something that they discussed at halftime, because when they came out second half, they were constantly playing those like through walls, through the passage between Telles and Maguire. And I mean, they were sleeping the entire time, and it happened often, and that's how they ended up scoring their second goal. Like that, the defense just doesn't fill me with any confidence.
Has been edgy all season. I mean, there's no need to go over that all the time. We all know that. I just have a gut feeling that we will put up a fight this evening. So yeah, only time will tell, and let's see what the result is this evening.
I don't think, right? So obviously this is coming from an Arsenal fan, but I don't think guys need motivation for games like this. I think in the season that United's had, and it's been up and down, so this would be like a really good feather in the cap if they can actually stop Liverpool. Because, I mean, even as I'd never want to see Spurs win titles, right? So I think that's what it is. There's more of the rivalry between Man United and Liverpool than there is with United and like City. But yeah, it's like, this is, like you say, Mubeen, one of the biggest games in English history, and it's rightfully so, because there were so many moments that actually define seasons for these particular matches, you know, and they hold weight. And these sort of games, players don't need to be motivated with incentives, you know, do this and we'll give you a winning bonus. Like, this is a game that you're playing for pride, and I have to share Mubeen's like sentiments. There's a part of me that feels that United might actually just do something tonight. And like Zubair says, it's either you're going to be playing at this level or you're going to be playing very bad. And I think that's what we saw in that first round game. So yeah, I think if you can neutralize that midfield, it's hard, obviously, because if you can neutralize that midfield, then that just leaves those wing backs free, and they basically extra mids, right? And they also double as extra forwards. But if you can stop Thiago getting the ball, if you can stop Fabinho getting onto it and actually creating, then that's half of the battle done, right? And then you just have to stop the Trent and the Robbo effect. And then suddenly that front three sort of falls out, man. They seem like that front three that can do something when they're given the ball. But I think with the form that Salah showed over the recent few games, and I think Mane has been like doing well when the team's doing well, there's always options there, man. So yeah, definitely going to be a nice game. Lovely game for neutral. But yeah, I'll keep my nerves for tomorrow's game for Arsenal fans.
Yeah, it's interesting to say that, because I'm going to stay with you right now, which is another great fixture this week. That is Chelsea versus Arsenal. And
Yeah.
Arsenal didn't have the best game last time out over the weekend against, was it
Southampton?
Did they play this weekend? Southampton. Yeah. And Chelsea just secured the cup final spot. Jason, how are you feeling about it, man?
Yo, I think as Nikita says, this is the squeaky bum time. But it's interesting because obviously them being third, I think we now in fifth or sixth maybe. I really don't look at the log because I'm just going to start crying. But these are the sort of games that swing your season, you know. So Chelsea lose this tonight, and then suddenly that top four race is completely open again. I think Arsenal need this win after this last few games that we've played. We've played very below par. And I think also it would be good momentum going into Saturday's game, which is against United, which is also somebody competing for that top four slot. It would put good pressure on Spurs as well if we can win. And if Man United wins tonight, then it's like just there's fire all the way to the end of the season. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the team that he shows up with, and also just what sort of team shows up. Those that are on the field, whether they're ready to fight for it or whether we're just going to sit and be passive. Despite all of the good work Arteta has done, it's still there's still that next step that we have to take, which we haven't taken. I think maybe it's with a few acquisitions, or maybe it's just some mentality change. But yeah, definitely squeaky bum time.
Are you still trusting the process?
I think I have to. I'm so far into this process now that if I leave, then I'm just going to be disappointed. So these sort of things really do take time, and I think that's one thing that I wanted to say earlier. Ralph needs the time. Erik Ten Hag needs the time. It's just I think once you set your expectations to first season, it will be bad. There'll be games where you'll win. There'll be games that you lose. Second season should be better, and then like you say, and I think Zubair said it. Get your top four, and then you set your reachable goals, you know. Go to a third spot, that's still Champions League, and you're still higher than the season before. And then keep going like that. Man. So yeah, still have to trust the process.
So, Zubair, who are the players from Chelsea that we need to look out for?
Sure. That's a difficult one because you never know who can show up on the day, but I think Kai Havertz is definitely one of them. Mason Mount for sure. And I think in midfield, we're going to have to go. I mean, who's been probably Kante, I think, he's been the engine of the midfield. So I think that's the three that I'll definitely look out for.
Loftus-Cheek actually impressed me a lot this weekend. Like, I haven't seen much of him lately because he hasn't really been playing much. But it looks like he took his chance this weekend. I think he was the best midfielder in that semi-final game. So I would think that he get rewarded with a start tomorrow night based on that performance. But yeah, any final words from you guys with regards to tomorrow night's game before we wrap up?
Nah, man, nothing from me. Let's not talk too much about that. Otherwise, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Yeah, I don't want to wish any more bad luck upon Arsenal because we have United this evening. So, when there's that sense of karma coming back to bite you. What do you call it? Squiggly bum?
Yeah. Squeaky bum time.
Squeaky bum time. Squeaky bum time.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's all that we have for you guys today. That's episode 17 of the 343 podcast. Thanks, Jason and Mubeen, for joining once again. Always a pleasure. And a huge thanks to Zubair for taking the time out. Any final words from you, Zubair? Where can people find you if they want to interact with you? Instagram, Twitter. You can just announce your handles, and then people can reach out to you if they need to.
First of all, thanks obviously for having me again. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Zubair Taylor or Zubair_Taylor.
Great stuff, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out. I'm AF for 343, and I'll catch you guys next time.